Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am. Hey, no audio. Um, okay. Let me investigate that because it. Let's see. Hold on a second. I think I've got it. Let me see what this does. Yeah. Tell them I am working on it, but I'm not understanding why it's not picking it up because I'll work on it. Hold on just a second. Uh huh. Okay. Got you. Let me do this. All right. I'm going to hang up with y'all and work on this. Hold on just a second. Hey, Mr. Sailor. Hold on just a second. We're having a problem with audio. Th- uh, just so you all know, I have recorded this meeting. So if there is, while I'm working on the audio, I'm trying to get in Brian's. Brian, I've got you down as a yes. I think that's what you said. I have recorded this, so if until I can get this audio feature fixed, and I'm working on it right now, I will upload a recorded version of the board meeting. That way, anybody can go back and rewatch it. Yeah. Y'all can just bear with me. Hold on just a second, please.
Mr. Saylor, can you say something and see if it fixes it?
Excuse me?
We have it pulled up on my cell phone. Can you speak?
Can you all hear me now through YouTube? Hello? Jeremy, is it possible we take it down, create a new link, and start it up again just because of the public meeting aspect of this?
No. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. I think that will make us okay. You agree, Jonathan? We're good with that?
I think that sounds like a good solution. So,
Okay. So next on the agenda,
They said Brian needs somebody, it's background noise like somebody's driving. See if Brian is muted, is what they're telling me.
He is muted right now.
I wasn't before, Donna, so I finally figured out I was having a little bit of background noise and I muted it, so should be good now.
okay. Next, we have to approve change order 4-3.
4-3 is for masonry work, and this has to do with a condition within the diesel lab. There was a beam in there that there was a conflict with that particular beam when it came to the block that was being laid in that area. Of course, we went ahead and approved that to keep them from having to wait. It was reviewed by Ross Tarrant and Codell as well. It's for $2,961, and it fixed the condition that they needed to have done there. So my recommendation is to approve that change order as well. If anybody has any questions now, Peter and them are available to answer them.
Okay, do
I
we have a
was going to
motion?
say that was a good catch on their part. So do you need somebody to make a motion?
Yes, do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 4. And Brian, you can give us your verbal.
That's yes for me, Jeremy.
Thank you. Okay, and we have one more, and the next change order is number 9-4.
And I believe this is the paint contractor. It comes down to the floors in those labs, the exposed concrete floors. They had a lot of success in the tech center, I believe it was at Clark County, that they used this tinning on the floor that gives us a better finished product. Was it Clark County, Jeremy, or was it Martin County that you all did this?
Yeah, that was at, Peter could talk to, but it's on Clark County. You're
Yeah, I
correct.
think we did it in both Clark and Martin. So, and it really does improve the look of the finish of the exposed concrete floors in those labs.
And I think, this is a building that's going to be here for the next 100 years, long after we're not around. So I think if that's something that improves the building, by far it is a good thing. And I believe the total cost for that was, let me go back to it, $4,300. And I think it's money well spent. So it's my recommendation to go ahead and do that.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make the motion.
Thanks, Sheila. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay.
Actually, I had something I was going to ask Ron, if you didn't mind.
Yes, go ahead, Brian.
So is that just like a tinning, Mr. Saylor or Jeremy or Peter? Is that where they take like the stone and is it kind of like takes off the top layer, and is that what that is? Or
Guys, y'all want to answer that?
Jeremy, I'll let you hop in as well, since you all forwarded, since you have some experience with it at Clark County. But my understanding is this is a treatment. It's more along the lines of a paint, but it will it's clear to a degree, but it provides a better surface. Concrete, can provide some problems on the surface, and this corrects those discrepancies very well. But Jeremy, you might be able to elaborate a little bit more on the quality of the product.
Yeah, and Peter explained it pretty good there. It's pretty much a sealer for concrete. So you've seen them spray probably after a project. I don't know if you've done like a home project and they spray the sealer on there, but this is a little bit more in depth. This is we had the clear sealer, but it's pretty much just taking a pigment and putting it in there. And like I said, all those blemishes and ugly spots and stains and that construction may cause, it alleviates that. So I think it's a great add-on for the project.
all right, thank you, gentlemen, for the explanation. I just wanted to make sure that everybody out there watching understood. So,
Is there any other discussion? Okay, this will be number 5.
and that's yes for me, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Hey guys, and before you move on, Rhonda, just a little update, just sort of keep a little record of change orders here as we move forward. There's a couple other small change orders that will be coming down the road a little bit. There was a trench drain that had to be installed in the diesel lab that we'll be seeing in the near future. There's also a change in the administrative office in terms of a doorway. That was discussed today, that's possibly even going to be a no cost change order. It's not going to really cost the board anything. But as of right now, we have had less than $15,000 worth of change orders on this project. It's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, it's getting close to 1/3 of the way complete. It's over 30%, so it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And remember that we had some really big deductive change orders early on in this project. So we're way ahead of the game here when it comes to change orders in terms of money that's being refunded to the board. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. And again, that goes back to having a good design, having a good set of drawings, having a construction manager on site that you can correct things and change things and get them done, while things are being done. So they're doing a fantastic job out there. And like I said, we're really ahead of the game when it comes to change orders at this point.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have an update on the EDA WRSI reimbursement process and schedule.
And this is something the board will be very interested in because this is $9.7 million of that project. If you remember, we have a $4 million EDA grant, and we also have a $5.7 million Work Ready Skills grant. And we have begun the reimbursement process on both of those. We had a conference call today with EDA out of Atlanta, and we're really close to submitting our first reimbursement application for the dollars for that grant. We had about 5 different things that we worked on today. I know Jonathan has been even working with their attorneys today on the first lien that is part of that process on that grant. So we're moving forward with it. Should expect a payment sometime, I would think, by mid-September. No later than late September, we'll have our first payment. And then here, probably not the September board meeting, but probably by the October board meeting, we have met the conditions for reimbursement or to start reimbursement with Work Ready Skills. And that process has really been streamlined. It's not going to be as difficult as it appeared that it once was. As soon as we have our match on the project, on the Area Technology Center project, our match was $4.5 million, I believe it was, before we could start getting reimbursement on the state grant. And that should happen about October. And what we've been told, once we're able to get into that process, basically what will happen is that if we exceed the limit come October, then you guys will approve the October pay app, and we will immediately turn around on Friday morning and submit that pay app for reimbursement. And we've been told that it's probably a 2-week turnaround to get that reimbursement. So with the streamlining of that project, with the new administration in Frankfurt, and of course with the Lieutenant Governor being in charge of the workforce cabinet, it's really gonna, we're not gonna have to worry about money flow issues in terms of grant reimbursements. So that's really good news for you all. And it's really good news for the district as we're moving forward. We're not in a money crunch by any means, but now we definitely will not be with Work Ready Skills coming on board and making the process a lot easier. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but that's just an update on those 2 processes.
Okay, next we will get an update on the bus garage.
All right. Thank you all. So I appreciate being able to be here tonight and give you an update on the bus garage. As you can see, when you see the pay app that was turned in this month, the project is nearing 50% completion. My colleague Randy Brookshire was in the field last week and sent back some good photographs of the project. The masonry veneer is on the front of the building, and wall panels are going up on the back and the sides, and probably on the front by now. Interior masonry work and concrete work is being completed. They got the channel drain installed at the wash bay, which is pretty cool to see. And as we move forward on the project, some exciting milestones for the building. You should look forward to seeing the roof go on. The fuel tank should arrive in very early September. It's a big piece that we like to see get installed. Sidewalks around the building and in the bus parking lot. And obviously the interior fit up of the space is also going to take place. A lot happening there in that building. It'll be really nice to see it move very quickly once the roof is on. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have for me on the bus garage project.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Peter? If not, I guess we're ready to move forward.
Okay. Now next we have a pay application number 5 with the associated direct purchase orders.
If you look at that pay app, we sort of had a miscommunication there in June, and we actually paid the contractor, but we did not pay any of the DPOs or the purchase orders for the materials for that. And we've been able to get that corrected. We've got the checks ready for payment tomorrow. It's in the amount of $80,380.07. And my recommendation is that we go ahead and pay that.
I make a motion, we pay.
Do we have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Or third.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 6.
So Brian, yes on number 6.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, next we have a pay application number 7, and it's associated with the direct purchase orders.
As you can see, if you pull up your attachment, it's for a total of $283,152.66. And you can see the difference there. This pay app, of course, has the payment to the general contractor, which is Stanford Builders. That's last in that June payment, that's all that we paid. So this gets us caught up to date on the entire project. And my recommendation is to make that payment for $283,000 and change.
I make a motion, we pay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Good.
Okay, this will be number 7.
So Brian, yes on number 7.
Thanks, Brian.
Welcome.
Okay, and next we have consideration or approval of a change order number 2.
Yeah, Mr. Saylor, I'll be happy to jump in if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, so this particular change order number 1 was for weather delays. So it was a $0 change order. So this is our first one on this particular project, and it's related to unearthed, unsuitable soils in the bus parking lot. And when Standard forgot to dig in back there to get the soils ready for the parking lot, he ran into a bunch of stuff that was used for fill back from when the highway project was completed. We had anticipated some of this, and there was an allowance in the project for unsuitable soils, but this was these 2 areas that he uncovered there sort of surpassed that allowance. And so this change order for $8,490 is for undercut and infill of unsuitable soils in the area of the bus parking lot that is above and beyond the allowance that was in the project.
And guys, so you all know, my understanding is that there was large tree trunks that had been buried there. There was also big old tires that came off of some of the construction equipment when all that area, that holler was filled in. So I do think it's an appropriate measure to go ahead, and of course it had to be done. I do think if somebody does the work, then we need to hold our end of the bargain and pay them for the work that they've done. We have been assured that there does not appear that there's any other unforeseen circumstances like that. even when they're digging for the diesel tanks, the gas tank and the DF tank that we will have to dig for, that won't be the same because of the field requirements for those. That's correct, is it not, Peter?
That is absolutely correct. That is correct.
So as of right now, this is really, and there may be, we've asked maybe for the installation of a water fountain in the garage area. There was one in the training room area, but there's not one in the garage area. There might be a small change order that would come about with the installation of that water fountain. But right now, we don't really anticipate any other change orders moving forward. And I know in talking to John and Peter the other day, I don't think they really anticipate anything. Doesn't mean something couldn't happen. But as of right now, the only other thing could be that we are asking them to take some of the large rock that came out of there and line the ditches with that large rock. If you go out and start trying to buy large gravel to do that, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And we felt like that might be a good use for that rock. But my recommendation is we go ahead and pay this change order. I think it's appropriate. The work was done. And I think we need to stand by our contractor here that's doing a fantastic job. Once they've got the rolling on this project, they're on track to be substantially complete by October 1, which is what we asked them to do. You agree, Peter?
Yes, I do. That is correct.
So that's my recommendation, Ms. Hardy.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make the motion.
Thank you, Sheila. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 8.
Yes, for me on number 8, Ron.
Thanks, Brian. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a central office middle school bleacher replacement project. So first we have to award the construction contract.
Of course, this is the bleacher replacement project for the middle school, and along with some work that we're doing at the high school and central office. You all approved this a couple of months ago. And of course, this contract is really going through KEDC. It's one of those situations where you don't have to go through the entire process to have what you would under a normal construction project. But this is a direct purchase through Toadvine Enterprises. You have to have an architect, which of course Ross Tarrant has served as the architect on this particular project. So we now need to approve that contract with Toadvine, which of course is going to be a direct purchase order for the bleachers as well. And I think that covers that, Peter. Do you need to add anything?
No, that's it. That is exactly correct.
So my recommendation is to go ahead and approve that contract with Toadvine.
I'll make the motion to approve the contract.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 9.
Okay, number 9, yes for me, Ron.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, next we have to approve the revised BG1.
Once they've come to all the pricing and everything that was needed, I think the BG1 is being adjusted, and it's being adjusted downward. What was it, Peter? A couple $100?
Yes, $270.
$270 less than we thought it was going to be.
Yes.
So that's always a good thing. So I would go ahead and make the recommendation that we approve that revision to the BG1.
Okay, we have a motion by Sheila. Do we have a second? Thanks, Jenny. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 10.
Just for Brian, number 10.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, moving right along. Looks like we have next on the agenda our ECHS renovation. This is phase 7.
Well, as everyone knows, we started talking at the June meeting that we were going to move forward with the final high school renovation. And part of that high school renovation, of course, includes the athletic facilities at the baseball, softball site. It also includes a complete renovation of the football stadium there adjacent to the high school, along with the track and tennis facilities. So we've done some preliminary cost analysis for that project. So the first thing that we have to do is hire an architect. If you go to your KSBA attachments for this item, you will see that yes, there's a lot of interest out there from architect firms right now in terms of wanting to work with us, and that says a lot, I think, about our school district. I believe that just the fact that we have a good reputation out there, but I also know that we have to make a determination for our school district as what's the best fit for us. I will tell you that since we began all these renovations 3 years ago, starting with Estill Springs, the middle school, the ATC, and the bus garage, I think that a few years ago downstairs in our board office, we met with Ross Tarrant. At that time, we said that the relationship that we've had with them in the past was very important to us. I feel like they have been they've been a partner. They've just not been somebody that we've hired. They've been a partner with us in these projects. And, it's my recommendation that we continue to retain Ross Tarrant as our architect. And probably the biggest reason is that they have been with us in terms of the high school renovations. They have been here. They know that building better than anybody. And listen, all these other firms, great people. You've met a lot of them at KSBA during the winter meeting. But I just feel like at this point in time, for us to be able to move forward and continue with progress and get this project up and going and get it approved and hopefully be able to start construction this coming spring, I feel like that we need to hire Ross Tarrant as our architect. That's my recommendation to the board.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to keep Ross Tarrant as our architect.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
I just echo sentiments from Mr. Saylor. These guys have been in here with us thick and thin, and they've done a heck of a job. I can't thank Peter and his crew and everybody that's been involved with all this. I'm like Donna said just a few months back. I mean, it's just amazing to see all this come to fruition and finally get all of our the park too as well. And I'm just so happy to even remotely be a part of this. It's a small part, and it just does my heart happy to see these things come to fruition. Sorry, I get off the soapbox now.
Thanks, Brian. Any other discussion? I'm lost. Did I have a motion?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got it all jacked up. I apologize.
You did, Brian. That's number 11, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I think there was a motion and a second.
Right, so that's to vote on number 11. Y'all, some of them had jumped ahead and voted, so I was confused. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's no worries. That's a big fat yes for Brian. So on that, so.
Thanks. Okay, I'll get back on track here. So next we have to approve to hire a construction manager.
Again, we had 3 different firms that reached out. I'm sorry, we had 4 different firms that ended up reaching out to us in terms of interest with the construction manager process on this job. I do really feel like that a construction manager is needed. And the reason being is that, again, to have a person on site that can really have eyes on construction. It's going to be taking place at 3 different locations on our high school property. I think that's important. And to have the level of expertise that they have. Again, we had 4 solid firms, had a new firm that bid that I'm very familiar with the people that's involved with that. But again, I look at so far what's happened with our project here on the ATC and the services that's been provided by Codell Construction and what they have done and the success that we've had so far on the ATC project. I know that they're going to deliver that same level of excellence on the high school project moving forward. And this will be the 3rd project that I've worked with them on. If you all accept my recommendation here in a minute, and my recommendation is that we continue to retain Codell as our construction manager for this high school renovation, and they're already on site. So we won't have to worry about somebody mobilizing or anything like that. They're here, they're ready to go, and there's not a better construction manager firm in the state. And I recommend that we retain Codell as our construction manager.
I make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Rhonda.
Thanks, Brian. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 12.
Right, yes for me on number 12.
Okay. Next, we have consideration and approval of the initial BG1.
And Peter, you're still with us, so congratulations on being hired as the architect for this project. Up until now, you've done a little bit of work and hadn't been paid for it. So now maybe we can pay you for working with us on this BG1. But for those of y'all that's sitting there, you're looking at this. The total construction for this project is $7.8 million, along with all the fees. And of course, the surveys and different parts of this project. Total project cost is $9,760,000. Peter, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I just want to very quickly let you all know how appreciative I am of being able to be a part of this one. And it was it's an exciting project, and like Mr. Saylor said, it is complicated. 3 different places on the high school campus will be impacted, and it's going to be a fun one to design. So thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
This fulfills the promise. When the nickel was passed, we told everybody that Estill Springs was our #1 priority. We told everybody that the ATC was our 2nd priority. And because of the hard work of the staff here at this central office and the $9.7 million worth of grants we received, we now are able to turn around and spend the $10 million that we were going to have to use for an area technology center. We're now able to use that to complete our high school and to complete these athletic facilities. And it's fulfilling a promise that was made when the recallable nickel was accepted by this community. So it's with an honor, and I'm proud to recommend the acceptance of this BG1 and for us to move forward with the design phase of this project.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Can we third it?
Yes, you can if you want to.
All right, this will be lucky number 13.
That's yes for me, Jeremy. In all caps.
Okay, next on the agenda, we are to set the 2021 tax rates. And we'll start with the real and property tax rates.
Yes, and if you all will look at your KSBA attachments, if you click on the 2021 tax rates, you will see the notice of hearing for the Estill County Board of Education. It sort of explains where we're at in terms of the tax rate and what it will generate for this coming year. To go back, we discussed a minute ago about the recallable nickel. 4 years ago, when we approached this community and we started speaking to our taxpayers about the recallable nickel, I want you to remember that at that time, we only had $1 million in our building fund. We could not have even hoped to have done any of the projects that we needed to do. We had an HVAC system at Estill Springs that was failing, and it was failing rather quickly, and $1 million would not even have begun the design of that system. And we went out to the community and we spoke to them about the recallable nickel, what it would do for our community. And we know at that time when we set that tax rate, everybody realized that for every dollar that the Estill County taxpayers contributed to the building fund, the state of Kentucky was going to contribute about $2.20. That's why we've been able to do $24 million worth of construction. But what went along with that night when that vote was made, this board made an obligation, or they made the promise that for the next 4 years, and this is year number 4, that we would not raise taxes on this community. And that promise is being kept tonight. Our current tax rate is 51.1 cents. And that the recommendation that I have for the board is that we freeze the tax rate at 51.1 cents. And I think it's important that we let everybody know that taxes now are cheaper in Estill County than they were the night that we passed the recallable nickel. So over the last 4 years, we've actually lowered the tax rate for the taxpayers of Estill County. But with COVID-19 and all of the things that's going on, I do not think that it's wise that I think it's wise that we keep the current rate at 51.1 cents. We honor our promise that we made 4 years ago. And so that's my recommendation for item number A, which is real and personal property taxes. I recommend that we set the rate at 51.1 cents.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Sheila. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Brian. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 14.
All right, Brian is yes on number 14.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, Next, we have the motor vehicle and watercraft tax rates.
Yes, and I believe, let me get to that attachment. I believe it's 54.8 cents, and that's been the rate for years. And of course, that rate has been frozen. And correct me if I'm wrong, Felicia, is that correct? 54.8? Hold on, I've got it right here. Yes, it is 54.8 cents. That is the current rate. And my recommendation is that we, of course, freeze that at that rate as well. It's 54.8 cents. And that would be my recommendation.
Okay, do we have a motion? Thanks, Sheila. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, this will be, any discussion? This would be number 15, or number 16, sorry. No, number 15.
Okay, yes for me on number 15.
Number 15, thank you.
Rhonda, before we move on, let me just go ahead and let everybody know, because this rate is slightly higher than the compensating rate, you do have to have a tax hearing. We have to advertise for the next 2 weeks in the paper, and we'll do that. And the tax hearing is set right now for September 14th. I'm sorry, September 10th at 6 p.m. For anybody in the public that would have comment. We probably would do that in the central office gym, just in case if anybody did want to make a comment. That way we could social distance. We'll just see it'll either be in the gym or in the boardroom. So it's at 6 o'clock. But that's just for information for you all to go ahead and mark your calendar. And I believe that in the morning, everything will be sent to the paper. But that's the process that you have to follow whenever you set the tax rate.
Thank
so thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have consent items.
We'll take just a minute and go through those for everybody. And then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. We've got the minutes from the last meeting, of course, the treasurer's report. I included in there the CARES package that, of course, was passed by our federal government. And there's two different pots of money that is involved with that. You have what's called the ESSER funds in the GEARS budget. It's a little bit over $1 million. And of course, as you all know, when we return to school, there's going to be a lot of purchases that's had to been made in terms of PPE, being prepared for kids returning to school, being able to take temperature checks. There's a lot of expenses that's part of that. I know $1 million sounds like a lot of money, but I can also tell you that $1 million will not go very far. So it will help bridge the gap and meet the needs that we've had. But we've already seen a lot of losses this past school year. A lot of people right now, I think I told you all this last time, our food service program has lost over $100,000 because the number of meals served was not the same, but yet we continued to pay our employees who worked all summer long. Our food service staff worked all summer long and made up all the time that they owed the school district. They still had to be paid, but the number of meals that we served was not the same. So it did cause a deficit in our food service program. So the shutdown has actually hurt the district quite a bit in terms of money. So that those appropriations will help our district. You've had a chance to look at those. The South Central Head Start agreement is, of course, for our Head Start and preschool program at South Urban. you do have an employee that's asked for a leave of absence, and that is very much needed. It's a medical leave of absence. Only the board members can see that, but it was included. We also have a cooperation agreement with the Estill County Physical Court and CSEP, and of course that's on emergency management, and it's a document that they have asked us to approve. There was some changes with the federal Title IX policies, and KSBA has introduced or they have written new policies, and they have reviewed our policies and made those corrections, and we're doing those tonight on an emergency reading, which allows you to have one reading and they become active at that point. And then also you'll see the District Code of Conduct Handbook, and that was a complete revision of our District Code of Conduct Handbook that was done here at the district level. Jeremy headed that up along with our principals and some of their staff. So those are the consent items. I don't know if you all have any questions about any of them, but if you do not, I would make the recommendation that we approve the consent items.
Mr. Saylor, I've had several parents contact me and ask me about the meals that we're serving for the children. And they specifically wanted to know, since we're going to go back virtual, they are curious about signing up for the meal program. Can they have that delivered just like in the summer to their homes? Does it matter about income level? Is it for all kids? People had questions about that.
Well, we sent a one call out today, and we have information that's went out on social media about meal service. And we can talk about this right now. And I know we've got a back to school update with several different things later on after closed session. But as of right now, our plans are that starting on Monday, our transportation personnel, along with our food service personnel and our instructional assistants that we have at our schools, they're going to deliver meals. And what will happen is that, of course, our cooks will be coming in pretty much early. They'll be preparing meals, and they'll be preparing a breakfast and a lunch for our students. And our buses will pull out every day at 11 o'clock, and they're going to run their afternoon bus run. So students that have ridden those buses before, they will know that about what time those buses will be there. As a matter of fact, I believe that the drivers and the bus monitors have been contacting those students by phone. The one call today was for students that normally don't ride the bus, to let them know that they can sign up as well. And there's a form that they can sign up, and they were directed to that form today. Our goal is that every student can receive a meal. I've really right now directed our food service personnel. I know that they were waiting on a waiver. There's two different feeding programs. Of course, we have our feeding program that takes place during the regular school year, and then we have our summer feeding program. The summer feeding program, the regulations for it are relaxed a whole lot more. So during the summer, any student or any child really from really birth or up to eating age all the way up to 18, regardless if they're a student or not, they can receive a meal. And we were waiting for federal approval for them to approve summer feeding starting next week. Now, I'm not sure what happened with that, but what I've instructed our food service and transportation personnel, if we have a child show up, whether they're a student or whether they're in school, we're going to feed them. We'll keep the count, and we'll use CARES money to pay for those meals. So anybody that shows up that honestly from once they can begin eating real food at 2 years old all the way through 18, they can get a meal. So that's what our plans are. And even when we go back on hybrid instruction, And I know that it's the desire of the board and it's the desire of our personnel as well. On September 28th, absent a mandate by the governor, we will return to in-person instruction on a hybrid model. So even on those Wednesdays, we will be delivering meals to students on those Wednesdays. We will have opportunities for meals to be picked up on. If you're an A student, you'll be able to pick a meal up on Thursday or Friday. If you're a B student, you'll be able to pick them up on Monday and Tuesday. So we're really trying to make meals available to all of our kids, make it a little bit easier where parents don't have to get in the car and come pick up those meals, but trying to provide meals directly to the door of where they catch the bus. And not only can we deliver meals doing that model, but if there's papers or items that need to be delivered to our students, or if our students in turn have something that need to be delivered to one of our schools, then we can do that as well. I hope that answered your question, Ms.
Yeah. I think the scenario was a parent has to work and their kid can't come to school. And normally they wouldn't get meals delivered to them, but the parent has to work. The child is going to be home by themselves during the day to do their virtual school. And that was it okay for them to sign up for the meal feed program, regardless of money, regardless of the situation. I understood it was for all children that were in our school system.
That is correct. Now, once we go on the hybrid model, we will not be able to deliver meals on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, because our drivers will be driving their normal morning and afternoon routes. But we will make meals available for pickup on those days, but it's just impossible for us to deliver on those days because of wage and hour with our bus drivers and our monitors.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor.
You're welcome. Any other questions? And there'll be some more back to school information here once we come out of closed session. So my recommendation is to approve the consent items.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I second it.
Thanks, Donna. Any discussion? Okay, this will be number 16. Okay, we will need a motion to go into closed session.
I make.
I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Jeremy, I apologize. Yes.
Did I have a motion to go into closed session? And I think, Mr. Sutherland, we're going to limit this. So what time will we plan to come back out?
We would like to let anybody know that's watching by YouTube that we will be back at, I think we can be back honestly by 7:35, which would give us about 20, 22 minutes in closed session. What's going to happen? Jeremy, did you send Jonathan that link for closed session as well? So as board members, we're going to close this link, and then when we come back, we can reopen the link, correct? Okay, so again, for the general public, we will be back at 7:35, which is a little bit over 20 minutes. So I don't know, Rhonda, if you got your motion or not.
I did not.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Okay. All right, this would be number 17.
Yes, for me.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, so I'll see you all on the other side here on the other Google Meet.
Thank you.
just to let everybody know, we're coming back. Give us just a second. 5 minutes late. Imagine that, Tanya. I wonder who did all the talking. Miss Isaacs, you want to guess at who did all the talking?
She's muted.
Yeah, she ain't going to comment. Okay. You see Tanya's chat, no guessing, I know. Are we live, Jeremy? Still on YouTube? Okay, let's make sure we get everybody back. There's Miss Donna. There's Miss Jenny Jo. Miss Sheila. Miss Summer is here still. We're still missing Miss Rhonda, and we lost
Brian.
we lost Brian at the very end of the closed session. So I don't know, Jeremy, if you want to reach out to him real quick by phone, see if he may just be in a spot he can get with us. Okay. And we're still waiting on Miss Hardy, and then we'll resume the rest of our meeting. We'll just need to indicate when we go back into the meeting that he is no longer present. I think it's taken Miss Hardy just a minute to log back in. It took a few minutes for her to get in on closed session. There she is. Miss Rhonda?
Yes, I'm extreme. My system is slow. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Just letting you know that Brian actually dropped off at the very end of the closed session. So
Yeah.
he may actually be in a spot that he has no service.
Okay.
So when we called, I guess you're getting ready to call the meeting back to order. I would just indicate that he is no longer in attendance at the meeting, and Jeremy will keep an eye out for him.
Okay. All right, I call the meeting back to order. I think we've lost Brian, so maybe he will join us back. And next on the agenda is we have public comments.
I just wonder, Rhonda, I just wonder if we go down and give the return to school update, then there might be some more responses. Jeremy, I'm only showing one response right now. Is that correct? We've only got one response right now. It's a construction related question. I didn't know it's a regular called meeting and we can move on down the agenda. If we wanted to give that return to school update, and then there may be some questions with that, if that pleases the board.
That's good for me.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about up to school update. We've already talked about food service and how we'll be handling food service for the next 5 weeks. So let's just go back. As you know, as everybody knows, the governor just a few weeks ago made a strong recommendation that we not return in person due to the recent uptick of COVID cases in our state. And, you know, I know that we were ready. I know that our staff was ready. I know that our parents was ready, and I know that our kids was ready to return. about 65% of our kids were ready to return to some type of in-person instruction. And I know it was disappointing for that to happen. But I just feel like when you have, I want to take the governor out of this. I want to take the legislators out of this. I want to go to one person. I want to go to Dr. Stack. And when I look at Dr. Stack, I don't think you have to look at him and see an R beside his name or a D beside his name. He's a health professional. He's given the best recommendation he can possibly give. And I have to believe that's what the Department of Public Health is doing. So I'm going to if I'm going to err, I'm going to err on the side of caution. And I appreciate the fact that as board members, you all have pretty much said, Mr. Saylor, we're going to listen to your recommendation on these things. And when he made that strong recommendation and Dr. Stack said he believed it was best that we delay the start of school for just a little bit to see if we could get this in control, I believe that's what we should do. I'm not going to sit here and argue about whether the governor should have done it. I'm not going to sit here and argue about the legislators that they're on the other side of the fence and they think that we should go back full go. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm going to take the advice of Dr. Stack. And until somebody tells me that he's not on the up and up, that's who I'm going to believe. So I just felt like it was best for us to delay. And I think if you look across this state, 150 school districts approximately right in there made that decision. I'm not telling everybody else that they're wrong. I don't know that they're wrong. I don't know that there is a right or a wrong answer. Because I can tell you this, when we go back to in-person instruction, and that's what we'll have a board meeting before September 28th. But my goal would be, and I think it's this board's goal, and they'll be able to speak on the 17th when we come back on September 17th. I think that our community, our kids, our parents, our board, our teachers, we want to go back to some form of in-person instruction. We need to lay eyes on our kids. We need to be able to provide them an education, the best education we can. And we're going to do a lot better job in remote instruction these 5 weeks than we did last spring. We've worked on it. We're better prepared. That still doesn't mean that there's going to be some kids that are going to struggle. And we have to realize that. So the sooner we get back to in-person classes, the better off we are. So that's our goal. So our goal will be that we will do 5 weeks of remote instruction. On September the 28th, we're going to return on the hybrid schedule, just like we had originally planned, with Group A on Monday and Tuesday, deep cleaning on Wednesdays, Group B on Thursday, Friday, cleaning on Saturday, and try to get in and see exactly how many kids we've got. Our goal will be at the end of the first 9 weeks, which is about 3 to 4 weeks after September 28th, right after fall break, then we need to make a decision whether or not we need to bring both groups, A and B, back 4 days a week. And if we can do that and we can do it safely, that's what we'll do. A lot's going to be determined on the numbers as they happen over the next little bit. So that's where we're at. We're still ready. We're ready for in-person. We've had a slight hiccup with our thermal scanning imagers at our doors. We're going to have to go a different route. We got those in. They weren't performing as they were promised. We're going to go a different route. We've asked for a refund. We've already been told that will happen. We'll look at a different route. Jeremy and I have a couple of options that maybe we can look at early next week after he gets these computers handed out at the middle school. We're working to try to get all of our cleaning supplies in. Those things, now we shouldn't have an issue with any type of cleaning supplies. We've got enough supplies to start next week. We're going to have staff in the building. If any of our parents or community goes to one of those buildings, they're going to have on a mask. They're going to have to take their temperature. They're going to be confined to that office area. We have all those protocols in place. So we're ready to go. That's our plan moving forward. I don't know that you guys have any other questions about those plans. Nothing's changed on school buses. When we start sending kids on school buses, they're going to have a mask. Last thing I'll say, to KHSAA today voted to begin sports and fall practice. That begins on Monday. I just want everybody to know we sent that information to the health department today. The Estill County Health Department has a big say in how we move forward with that. So just because the Board of Control acted today does not mean that our health department may have other ideals. Just because the Board of Control acted today does not mean that the Department of Health with the state of Kentucky might have other ideals. The governor, I think, made it pretty clear this afternoon that he was shocked by what happened. I'm a little shocked, but I am going to support the KHSAA's decision. I think there needs to be a hard discussion, and I think the governor will have a hard discussion with the Commissioner Tackett, and we'll see if everything goes forward Monday or not. I know there's people out there that's going to argue, well, if we can have sports, why can't we go to in-person classes? I can't answer that. All I know is we have a recommendation not to go to in-person classes, so that's what we're going to follow. But we're going to have athletic teams that possibly are going to play games the week of September 7th. If they get on a school bus, they're not going to like it. But guess what they're going to have on? They're going to have on a mask. And when they get on that school bus, guess what's going to happen before they get on it? They're going to have their temperature checked. And we're going to meet with our coaches on Monday, and we're going to lay out some very strict guidelines on kids coming back to practice, how kids are going to have to social distance. And we're going to make sure our coaches know that we're going to be an open book. If a kid is sick, they don't participate. They don't participate until they have a test to determine that they're not infected with COVID-19. And we're going to make it very well known that under no circumstances are we going to be put in a situation where we're kept in the dark in terms of what our players are feeling in terms of any type of sickness or anything else. So as before, we may not have everything perfect, but I think we have pretty good plans in place, and we're going to be very stringent. We're going to be very strict in terms of the guidelines that we follow forward. And I will tell you all this as superintendent. If I do not feel comfortable the week of September 7th, if I do not think we are ready to play games, if I do not feel that it is safe, then I will have no problem contacting our board chair and our vice chair. And listen, if I don't feel it's safe, I will recommend to them and I will let them know my plans are is that we're not going to play that week. Until we feel comfortable, it will be a local decision. They dumped it local today. They said it's up to local school districts. And I promise you all that I will make sure that it's as safe as it can be before any of our kids go to an athletic field. And the last thing I would say to all of our fans that want to attend games, just realize that this is not last year. There will be very strict attendance limits at our games. My opinion, starting out, it will be parents only. I do not think that the average fan will be able to attend the game. So I just want you to know that there'll be very strict guidelines on seating and the number of people in attendance, and very strict guidelines in terms of concessions. And I don't even know if it's even worth opening up a concession. We'll make those decisions as we go forward, but we'll follow all the guidelines as they have. So that's really my back to school update. If you want to, I'll go through these others. If our parents have any questions, you can, there's a form that you can fill out, and you can go and fill out that form and we'll answer those questions. And if that's okay with you, Ms. Rhonda, let's finish the superintendent report and then we'll see if there's any other public comments. Does that work?
Perfect.
Okay. You all have your notification of personnel actions. I do want you to know that we set in my office this past
'Tuesday?
finance. Was it this Tuesday? I wanted to give you the right date. No, it was, I can't remember. It's Monday or Tuesday. Days have run together at this point. But we really went through our personnel and we identified positions that we have open, positions that's not been filled, all of those things. I want you to know that we identified approximately 12 positions that are currently open in our school district. But what I have done as superintendent is I've basically instituted a freeze right now on hiring, because I want to make sure that we can come out on the other side of this thing unscathed financially. And when we're presenting a budget in January, it's a budget that we can live with. Right now, we've identified probably $200,000 in savings in terms of salaries, that positions that we don't need to hire right now. Now, if we get back to in-person instruction and we get back to in-person instruction 4 or 5 days a week, we'll have to relent on some of those. We'll have to have some of those positions back. But for right now, they've been froze. The return to school update we've just done. Cybersecurity is something that Jeremy had on the agenda. Jeremy, do you want to comment on that? Real quick, the next one there is the energy report. And I hope y'all looked at that energy report. Of course, there was a huge savings towards the end of the year because we did not have students in our district. But even at Estill Springs, if you looked at the total reduction, it was about a 35% reduction on utility costs in that building. And that's because of that new HVAC system and the work that you all did there. Item E was a letter from Mercy Health, and that's in support of our athletic trainer, and it looks like she's going to get to begin work. This is a reminder for our board members that on the September 14th, you received an invitation for that online meeting. And of course, that meeting does provide some service credit toward your required board meeting, your board education. So please make plans to log on to that. If you all want to come here, again, Sheila, you like to come here and conduct this meeting in one of our offices where you're socially distanced, you can come here that night. I'll be here that night as well. Participating in that meeting. So the board office is available to anybody that needs to. Senate Bill 158 is the new school accountability law that passed. I wanted to get that information out there to you. It tells some of the changes or revisions to school accountability. Just so the board knows, I fully expect for the spring testing period to be waived again. I know that they have asked for a waiver with the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. I fully expect that to happen. We will still be given in-house assessments, and hopefully we're going to be able to work out a solution with our vendor for map testing that will still allow us to have the data that we need to try to meet the needs of our students. And then item H was added today. It was a non-voting item, and I just wanted to remind everybody that Representative Barr will be here Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock at the ATC site. Remember that Congressman Barr and Senator McConnell were very instrumental in the us being awarded a $4 million EDA grant. And we're very appreciative of their efforts. And I know that Representative Barr will be here. His field representative wanted to make sure I will have hard hats for everybody. I'll put them in my vehicle and take them out there. So each of our board members will have a hard hat on that visit, and you all will be able to hang on to those. So if you want to visit any of these sites, you can. The Congressman's staff office did make the specific request that all social distancing rules should be followed, and and they've asked for masks to be worn. So that's basically my update for the superintendent's report, Rhonda.
Thank you. Did I understand Jeremy needed approval, or did I misunderstand on the cybersecurity? Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, Rhonda, just one other update with that. Part of your property and liability insurance policy, there is a cyber rider as part of that policy that we pay for as well. So it's very important we protect the information of our employees.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will go back to public comments now.
Anything else been added, Jeremy? Well, hopefully, I tell them what it is. Hopefully, it's a construction question, but hopefully we're doing a good job getting information out there on our website and on social media. And I know that our schools have been in contact with our parents. Listen, any parent, if you've not heard from the school, it's not because we've not tried. That means that we may not have the correct information. And if we don't have the correct information, we're not able to get a hold of you. I know they have personally made phone calls to every student in this district, or tried to make phone calls. So if there is something that's happened that you've not heard from your school, if you will call 723-2181, and if you will call that number tomorrow, that is our board office. And if you will leave your information with Miss Rebecca at the front desk, we will get your school in contact with you and your child. We want to make sure that we're ready to go on Monday. And just know that Monday may not be actually perfect, but we're going to do our best to try to get back in the swing of things. And hopefully by Thursday and Friday of this week, or maybe even Wednesday, we'll be up and running at full speed. We're asking our parents that set the school day aside. School starts at 8 o'clock and dismisses at 3 o'clock in the Estill County school system when we're in normal session. So we're asking you to put your children on a schedule. It will work better if you do that, if they know that this is the time that's set aside for them to do their schoolwork. And our teachers are going to be available. They're going to be at the school. They're going to be able to answer your questions. But we hope not to have what happened last spring when we started having students emailing our staff after midnight, and during after dinner time. We want to be cognizant of our staff. Our staff is working hard, but they're not on duty 24/7. So we ask that everybody work together and that from 8 to 3 o'clock, that is school time. And if there's exceptions to that, you need to talk directly to the principal so that arrangements can be made. The only question that we had concerned the possibility of maybe an electronic sign being put somewhere on the site out at the high school, middle school, and area technology center. Of course, when those buildings were built, they were built on old 89. What's old 89 now? So the marquees and everything are over on the old side of the road. They were asking about the possibility of something maybe that would be maybe more visible. And I think that was the gist of the question, Jeremy. And we will look into that. We'll have to see what type of money is left in the project that would allow us to do that. There is a possibility that we could do that, but let us see where we're at in terms of finances. Any others, Jeremy? Okay, Ms. Rhonda, I guess we're ready to go to board member forum.
Okay, do we have anything from our board members?
Mr. Saylor, and members of the board, I hope that it's okay at this time to make this comment. I just want to say what courage that it takes for Congressman Barr to get back here to Estill County with everything that he's been through with his family. And I'm just very humbled that he would take the time to come here. And I would just like to encourage everyone to keep him and his two daughters in their prayers. And I appreciate his work very much.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you for that comment. And so you all know, you know, I think as school board members and as school superintendent, I think we need to try to be as nonpartisan as we can. And I know that's hard to say sometimes, but I think it's important that we work with both sides, both political parties, because as you know, as we work for funding for the Area Technology Center, we work very closely with the governor and his staff. We work very closely with our representatives in the legislature. We also work very closely with Senator Stivers and the leadership in the Kentucky State Senate. So, I mean, our goal is to do what's best for kids and that we work with everybody that's possible. I will say this about Congressman Barr. If he's in Estill County, he usually drops in this office, or he calls me and says, I'm here. If you've got time, come out and see me or come out and meet me. And he's been very much a supporter of this school district. And he did go through a very difficult time. And, you know, he's still going through a difficult time. You know, he is with two young children that no longer has a mother at home. So I'm sure he does need our prayers, as well as our entire state. Our governor needs our prayers, our legislature, our legislators, just our community, our entire state, and our entire country. We're having a very difficult time right now in our country. There's a lot of division, and I hope that we can heal as a country and heal as a land, and that I know that's going to be my prayers as well.
And before we adjourn, Mr. Saylor, I'd just like to say on behalf of the board and that, you know, we want all the teachers to know and the staff and to you as well, how appreciative you guys are and how much we know that you all put a lot of hard work into preparing for starting school next week. And this is just a lot of new things going on, and we understand that there's gonna, you know, everybody needs to be patient, and also that everybody, all the staff and you are in our thoughts and prayers too for next week.
Thank you. And I will give you one bright spot for this coming week. School starting on Monday. We will not get one call about a traffic issue at any of our schools. There will be no traffic problems on Monday. So I guess that's the one bright spot, if there is one, of starting back remotely.
Absolutely, with all the construction at the middle school and high school. So,
Definitely.
okay, if no one else has anything, then I just need a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Would someone like to second?
Gotcha.
All right, I think if I'm correct, this will be number 19. Thank you all.
Summer, I just wanted to holler at you real quick and say thank you for being with us tonight. She was awful quiet tonight, but we do appreciate our student representative to the board.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you
Y'all,
all.
good evening.
Stay safe.
Have a good evening.
We'll see everybody tomorrow morning about 8, staff. I may be here at 8:30.